Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 7 of City Skylines San Francisco. So welcome back guys, I hope you are well. In this episode we are going to carry on with our development of the waterfront. This time we are going to go south of the Bay Bridge, which includes some really cool and unique things. This episode is also stacked with building, we get heaps done, so without further ado, let's jump into it. So the first part we focus on is this big sort of dock here. This is the largest dock on this part of the waterfront, and it's mainly car parks, and it looks to be like some sort of vehicle loading for a ferry, maybe something of the sort. But I've tried my best to make it look sort of scraggly and different bits of tarmac here and there, and you know, as you would expect down at the dock. And pretty much directly underneath the Bay Bridge there's also a couple of other piers, and I'm pretty sure one of these is a pretty happening entertainment spot, like for musicians and stuff like that. Then we can zoom into our largest dock and start detailing it a bit closer. And the first thing I'll do is run a road out here because I want these car parks to actually function in game and be usable. You can see here I've also used some darker coloured surface networks to make it look like the tarmac's been replaced and damaged and upgraded and all of that sort of stuff. And some other notable features out here are there's a couple of like canvas tents that look like they act as checkpoints that these vehicles are going through, so I put those in as well. I also put some like prop vehicles down to make it look like they're lining up to get on a ferry. Then I finish it off with a few decals here and there, and some red barriers in places to direct the vehicles. As we get towards the end of this section of the waterfront, we've got 2 more piers here before it turns into a large marina, and these piers have various differences. For instance, some of them have car parks and piers, their own like private pier, and we're making pretty good progress here because there's not too much detail to put in really. So as a Kiwi, it doesn't take much for me to get excited about sport, and admittedly I don't know too much about baseball or Oracle Park for that matter, but I could tell pretty well straight away that this was a pretty iconic venue. It's situated right on the waterfront here as it turns down a little like estuary or a little canal, and I've got to say it looks stunning. You could imagine sitting down here on a nice sunny day watching a game of baseball, you know, hot chips in hand. Yeah, it's just really awesome spot really. So I grabbed a baseball stadium from the workshop, and I do my best here to dress it up a little bit more like Oracle Park. Admittedly, I've done this pretty quick and reasonably crudely. I try to save most of the detail for around on the waterfront, and what I actually end up doing out here is POing a couple of buildings and building sort of my own custom entrance, because there is an entrance out on this waterfront side. And even with intentions to use not that many props, I still want to avoid this looking like it's just been slapped together, and you know, being such an iconic part of the city, I don't mind using a few out here on this side of it. So on the seaside we've got this wall here that's got these little unique archways. Some of them have awnings above them and stuff like that, and looking at Google Earth, this part of the stadium jumped out at me straight away, so I have made a point to make sure this looks somewhat right. So I carry on here for a little bit, dressing up these little wee shops, then I can move out a bit further and start actually developing the edge of the waterfront. There's lots of red around Oracle Park, so I'm picking that the San Francisco Giants team colour is red. So I am trying to introduce a bit more red, and there's a bit here at the back of the stadium where there's like a red floor, and there's something very special on that, or standoutish, that we build soon. But I top off this side of Oracle Park with a bit of a service area around this side of it as well, with a couple of cranes and some nice palm trees on the waterfront. So when I was musing around on Google Earth looking at Oracle Park, I noticed this big Coke bottle. It must be huge, on the side of the stadium here, and there's also a big catching glove, but I haven't been able to put that in. But this big Coke bottle, I found a bottle on the workshop, so I put some decals on it and try and make it look like a Coke bottle, and yeah, this looks kinda cool. I do, however, keep it really simple. It's pretty much just the bottle, and I also put like a pillar to hold it up on the angle. And you might also notice that there's like a little wee mini park next to it, and this must be for children or something like that, which is pretty cool, so I've included that as well. To top this area off, there's also like a little social area. There's like some tables and umbrellas, and there must be a little wee like bar up here, whether it's like a private bar or whatever, but there's also stairs accessing this top part, so yeah, that finishes off this little area. So now with the waterfront done, we can move in and finish off pretty much this whole block from the waterfront back to the highway. So obviously the first thing to do here is put all of the roads in, and this is fairly simple. We're just following the same grid pattern that we've got before, and I'm using the American style roads. I think they're called the big American style roads. I also don't want to make too many connections with our main road that we've got running along the waterfront, so I'm just picking and choosing where I make those intersections. In terms of the buildings in this area, most of them to me look like hotels, and this would make sense because what a beautiful spot, so close to downtown. Yeah, there's lots of pools, lots of vegetation, so this is what we're going to look to do here in terms of those buildings. So I went and jumped on the workshop and helped myself to a whole handful of different hotels, and some of them have had to be modified with procedural objects so that I can fit them into the block. And a lot of these hotels look like separate units that are just spread over a small distance, often with car park, pools or vegetation between them. And some of the hotels are like 10 to 12 stories high, connected with sort of like ground floor lobbies between the two towers. But all of them have a common theme. They all fit very snug to the block. They've got lots of pools, car parks, and yeah, heaps of trees, which makes the area look really attractive and really neat. So now with 90% of the buildings placed, I can come back and start detailing a little closer, and let's move over here to the end of the bay bridge and make this look a little bit more like it does in real life. I really like the contrast between the scrubby sort of unbuilt nature surrounding this intersection compared to like the the downtown that's only maybe 100 meters away. So aside from getting the end of the bay bridge sort of pretty well right, I focus on getting that contrast. There's also a dog park on the corner here where it meets one of the blocks behind the hotels, so I'm sure to include that as well, because I think that's pretty important. If there's people that have pets that live in the downtown, they need somewhere so their pets can stretch their legs. So the time has come to put the last of the buildings in here, and most of the ones you've seen me put in here are low commercial or high residential, and I'm trying to pack these in as tightly to these blocks as I can get them. Looking on Google Earth, there even looks to be some like low residential type buildings that have been converted into commercial properties or spaces. So I try to add a couple of buildings in like that as well, but we're actually going to go into that in a little bit more depth in the next episode. There is one park in particular in this area that is very cool. So to finish off the buildings, over towards the downtown I leave a space for like a bus transit that we're going to put in future, and also we see a lot more car parks over towards downtown. Then I can move on to doing something that I've wanted to do for a long time since I started the series basically, but I've been procrastinating because I knew it was going to be a tedious task. But basically I want to cover the bay bridge in like prop lights, and this has worked as well as I thought it would. The cinematics that are coming up I think are some of the best I've ever taken, and a lot of them are thanks to these prop lights that I spent a long time putting in.
That's good.
We got lots of building done in this episode, and I'm definitely going to make a point in future to make the episodes a lot more jam-packed and get much more built. I really want to be able to show you guys some solid progress, and to be fair, this is going to take me 5 years to finish if I don't start getting a move on. But with just this section of the waterfront done, this is looking awesome. This is much more complete now. I'm really happy with Oracle Park, and the Bay Bridge at night is just stunning. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series. I'm loving putting it together, and hopefully you'll join me on the next episode. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys doing that, and I will see you on the next episode of San Francisco. Take it easy guys. See you later.